welcome, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I gotta tell you, there are some nervous politicians out there tonight, wondering where this is gonna go. There's so much craziness going on around here. I don't know where to start, but let's start with this. Where you are. You're listening to Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I'm Joe Vollano, obviously. I am your host, your guiding light through the fog of what this BS that's going out all over the place today. All over. We have governments paying you to go back to work instead of just taking away your unemployment so you go back to work. We're going to talk about that. We're going to start that off on the bat. We're going to talk about some op-eds that came out over the last week and a half about a subject we talked about a couple weeks ago with racism. Racism is a public health crisis where the police department obviously is the number one cause of death to black males in the United States, I guess, or in Meriden at least, because, Meriden is the one that passed it. So we're gonna go through what the rag newspaper, the Record Journal here in Meriden. Granted, it's been everything they write is bullshit anyways, but their editors decided to chime in on the subject. So we're going to chime in on theirs, and it should get interesting. And then we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of what they're talking about. Because they're going to tell you that there's something going on, and then I'm going to give you the next story, and it would be like it was all gone. So I hate to say it, but I told you so. And I guess we're going to have that moment tonight because, I always say it, and I say it time and time again. I know Democrats, I know liberals better than they know themselves. I know what they're going to do before they do it. They're so predictable. So predictable. How people don't realize it and understand what they're trying to do is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to me. And I'm going to get into that because the editorials are starting the process that I talked about just 3 weeks ago. And I'm encouraged because that video, our show back 3 weeks ago, has now jumped over 4,000 views. People are paying attention. People are sick and tired of this. But they're wondering, where are our leaders? Where are the real leaders that have a backbone and are not afraid to call bullshit out? Because that's what all of this is. And no one has the guts to say it. No one in positions of power. No one has the guts to just say no, except for one. Bob Williams did. But no one, not even just that, up at the state capitol. It's ridiculous. And Jeff, you are absolutely right. It's both parties. It is both parties. But that's why I said when I started the show, I said, there are some politicians out there that are a little nervous tonight, not knowing where this is going to go, where our conversation is going to go. And I've had phone calls today. Where are you going with all this? Where are you going with all this? It's going to where the truth is. The truth will guide us. The truth will guide us to where we go. As I said, I do not do this show to promote any one party. This is straight talk. We are going to have some straight talk. And I blasted people 3 weeks ago from both sides. We are not here to throw shade to anybody. We will speak the truth. We will let the facts dictate where it goes. There are people who don't want to talk about this anymore. They don't want to talk about this issue anymore. They think this is all said and done. We're done. We're good. We talked about it. Everybody's happy. No, I'm not happy. But since I know they're out there listening, here's the number. 203-679-9610. If you have something of an issue of what I'm saying, and you think I am incorrect, by all means, go ahead. Call me and let's straighten it out. Now, I had a very good discussion a couple weeks ago with the minority leader. They weren't happy with what I had to say 3 weeks ago. And when we sat down and we had a conversation, it got heated sometimes. I understand he explained his position on this whole racism as a public health issue. He explained to me his position on why he did what he did. And I accept it for what it is. I think it's still a wrong decision, but I try to understand where he's coming from. I think he's wrong. But again, I respect that the fact that he had the guts to come out and say, you know what? This is why I did it. Right or wrong, this is why I did it. And I respect that. I respect that. Because he was the only one so far that had the guts to turn around and back up why he did what he did. We are living in some crazy times. I say it every show. I just want to know where our real leaders are. I just want to know. Because none of them are out there. And in case you're too much of a coward to call, you could always email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. That's for all you politicians out there. All you politicians that are a little nervous. By all means, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. I'll read your email, and we'll have a discussion. If you want to call, it's going to be respectful. You can call up. I'm not going to bash you. I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to listen to what you have to say. If you want to call in and tell us why you're doing what you're doing, because you guys won't do this out in the public, you won't go back to in-person meetings, so the public can't come out and ask you to your face, what the hell are you doing? This is your opportunity. Call up. Call up and explain yourself. I won't say 2 words. Go ahead. The phone line is all yours. This show is all yours. So we'll just have to sit here and wait to see if that happens. Because I tell you what, there is no one that dictates what I say on this show. I will not throw cover for anybody. And we will do what's right. Because, like I say all the time, at the end of the day, the facts don't care about your feelings. They don't. So I'm going to leave this number up, as I always do. 203-679-9610. By all means, give us a call. I think everybody here would be more than happy to sit there and put their listening ears on and hear what you have to say. We live in a world where we are now taking away personal responsibility. You no longer are responsible for anything you do. It's always someone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. And it leads to things like what we're about to talk about. That we're going to talk about a $1,000 sign-on bonus if you go back to freaking work and you work for 8 straight weeks. I always thought that the benefit of getting a job is to get a paycheck. But that's not how it works here in America anymore. Now you get a paycheck for sitting on your ass at home. It's absolutely crazy. We have to bribe people to go back to work. That's where we're at. Where is the incentive to go back to work when you could collect unemployment and you could get a bonus unemployment? You could make more money sitting at home than going to work. And for all you people that are going to sit there and go, oh, we need $15 an hour. We need $15 an hour. Knock that nonsense off. This isn't about $15 an hour. This is about just giving people free shit so that they will vote for you in the next election. That's what this is all about. That's what it's always been about. It's always been about votes and control. If you can control them, then they will vote for you. If you can control what they have, when they have it, how they have it, they need you. They need you. And that's where, and again, and I know some of you are going to like, that's where Democrats are at. Because this isn't a Republican thing coming out. Republicans aren't advocating this. Where are we at? Because we have 65,000 jobs in the state of Connecticut that nobody wants to go back to. If you go to a restaurant, you can't find a server to work there. They're making too much money on unemployment. Cut the unemployment, forces everybody to go back to work. You can save yourself a shit ton of money. You don't need to spend it on this. $1,000. And here's the thing. You could go work for 8 weeks, jump back off. It's ridiculous. And then you go back on unemployment. It is absolute lunacy to me. But there are people that actually embrace this stuff. And there are a lot of politicians that are encouraging it. This leads us to a downward spiral when it comes to a society that's supposed to go out there as an American dream and work hard for what you want. If you want something, go work for it. But hard work doesn't matter anymore. Because daddy government's going to give it to you. All you have to do is give up your friggin' life for security. I never ever thought we'd be at a point in our lives that I would have to be sitting here behind this microphone and telling you that people won't go back to work because they're making too much money. That people don't want to go back to work. People are willing. I never thought I'd say this in America. People are willing to give up their lives for security from daddy government. That's where we're at. And it's only going to get worse if we don't step up. It's only going to get worse. This is only the beginning. And everything we're about to talk about tonight again, it's just the beginning. We need real leaders. We need real leaders to stand up and say, no, enough is enough, and actually speak facts. Speak facts and truth to what's really going on and call out the BS when you see it. We could do it here, all fine and dandy, but we don't have any power here other than the power of numbers. We have numbers. That's all we have. We could go out there and change things if we're all willing to do it. I always talk about our circle of influence. What are you doing in your circle of influence to get people to go out there and do something for positive change? And I asked that question again tonight. It's the same thing. What are we doing? Are we doing what we need to? Apparently not, because it's getting worse. We need to find real leaders who are going to stand up and say no. And say no. But we have weak-minded individuals in positions of power. And because of that, this is what we get, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we get. Think about that. It's time to step up for everybody. Everybody here. It's time to step up and do something. Some of us will sit here behind a microphone. Some of us will run for office. Some of us will go and help a candidate out so we can stop the madness. But we all have a part to do. You need to figure out what is your part. Where do you fit in this puzzle? Because like I said this 3 weeks ago, when that resolution passed, what did I say? I said, you're going to have Democrats, every time you turn around, going to sit there and say, every Democrat and Republican council voted for it, so it must be true. I told you they were going to ram this thing so far down our throats. And here it is. Here it is. Here it is. It's never too late to stop a train. I'll derail the fucking thing if I have to. But here it is. Right here. Here we go. So, Democrats sent their lackey out, and if none of you know who Mr. Frazier is, he's some crazy liberal that comes up at city council all the time and talks about liberal shit. He'll spew his crap, and he came and did exactly what I said they were going to do. As soon as that passed, they came on and did exactly what they're going to do because they're liberals. So I'm going to read his editorial here because I find it quite hilarious. So he said, congratulations to the mayor and the city council for having the wisdom and caring to declare racism a public health crisis. Yes, it took much wisdom to sit there and try to push a false narrative. Yeah. Every Democrat and Republican councilor voted for the resolution, except for We the People Councilman Bob Williams, who complained that all lives matter, which they do. And I commend Bob Williams for that. And then he continues, yes, all lives matter, but for centuries in America, all lives have not mattered equally, which is true. The empathetic statement of racial equality to which Mr. Williams appears to object does not mean that only black lives matter, but that black lives matter too. Well, no one says they don't. If you say all lives matter, black lives are in that. Hispanic lives are in that. Asian lives are in that. And we're not going to rehash a lot of this, because if you want to know what we really spoke about, you could go back 3 weeks ago that now has over 4,000 views, and you could go watch it. You could watch my breakdown of that nonsense that they passed. So this is the part I like. I asked Mr. Williams and those who share his sentiments, which I'm taking as me, these questions. Were your ancestors brought here on slave ships? No, they weren't. Did the U.S. Constitution count you as 3/5 a person? No, they didn't. But we already recognize that. Were you ever denied a mortgage because of redlining? No, we weren't. And again, that was way back. So do you fear for your life in a routine vehicle traffic stop? No, and neither should they, if you just do as you're told. And then I love this part. This is the best part. After the Boston Marathon bombing, when people across the country declared Boston proud, did you protest? What about other cities? Last time I checked, there was not a terrorist attack in another city at that time. It was Boston. We were rounding around Boston. Did we sit there and say, oh, when we said New York, everybody loves New York after the terrorist attacks? Are you trying to compare Black Lives Matter to a friggin' terrorist attack? You dumbass. But these are how liberals think. This is how liberal thinking is. We go on. When your neighbors raise funds for cancer research, do you grumble? What about other diseases? I mean, they're so desperate to grasp at straws to sit there and try to paint us as some kind of crazy radicals, crazy racists, as they like to call us. They're crazy. Where does this even make any sense? Again, they're trying to live in the past. But they want to tell us to look towards the future. So they're telling us, oh, we're doing this for the future. No, you're living in the past. None of this shit exists anymore. It hasn't existed in some of its centuries. At least a century and a half. This hasn't existed anymore. So what? So now, see, this is the problem that I have with these crazies, is that they sit there and say, okay, well, we want these demands. And then when you give them those demands, they go, yeah. But we need this now because of this. It's like, no, you just told us you wanted this because of that. No, we want more. It never ends. Listen, this is the new race hustle. You know, you used to have Jesse Jackson. You used to have Al Sharpton. No. They're friggin' amateurs compared to the new social justice warriors. This is all this is. It's a race hustle. It's all money. It's about money. That's all this is about. So when there is a crisis, we'll continue on with this. When there is a crisis, we must come together to support those who hurt. Yeah, that's what we did in Boston. You just talked about it. That's what Americans do. When terrorist attacks happened in New York, yes, we all came together. Okay. But again, are you trying to compare Black Lives Matter, or you're trying to talk about police brutality, which isn't even really happening? You think it's, the way you sound, you think it's running rampant. You think it's running rampant, and it's not. There's no statistic to prove that. So if you're trying to sit there and say, well, we need to come around all Black Lives Matter because you're trying to push a false narrative, no. Because it doesn't make any sense. When a terrorist attack happens, we come together. When George Floyd was killed, we all came together. We all said that was wrong. That was wrong. Anyone who saw the video said it was wrong. But see, the thing is, when we agree with you on anything, you try to take it to the fucking extreme. We agreed with you. Just be happy. Yes, we agree with you. That shouldn't have happened. But now you're taking it to a whole new level. See, here's the problem with liberals. And I talk about, you know, whether it's Black Lives Matter, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, anything a liberal wants to talk about, health care, it doesn't matter. The thing is, liberals want to have a one-way conversation. Listen, liberals want you to listen, but don't you dare respond to us with facts that are against what we're talking about. That's where we're at. So when they sit there and say they want to have a conversation, they want to have a one-way conversation. They want to have a one-way conversation. They don't care about what you have to say. Because if you don't agree with them, you're a racist. And therefore, again, that works for a lot of people. On their end, that works for people. People will shut up. Nobody likes to be called a racist. I don't give a crap if you call me one. I don't care. Because you know what? I know the truth. I know the truth. I shared the statistics. I just want to, and again, and this for all these people, especially for these counselors out there who sit there and say that racism is the cause of poverty. It's the root cause of poverty. Okay, so what's the excuse for the 1,900 poor white families in Meriden? What is their excuse? Why are we only focused on the 900 black families that are living in poverty in the city of Meriden? What about the white families? What's their excuse? I'm taking it they can't climb racism. Or is it only for them, or let's say the 3,600 poor Hispanic families that live in the city of Meriden? What's their excuse? If you want to talk about the real oppressed of today's age, it is them. That's why I'm so against illegal immigration. because they are exploited. They are the ones sitting there working out on the fields. What's their excuse? But again, why are we only talking about black lives? That's why when we sit there and say all lives matter, because all lives matter. And I don't know, and again, I know some minorities don't like hearing this, but how do you expect everybody else to care about black lives when black people don't give a shit about black lives? I still yet to have one person answer that for me. Because if they did, they'd be sitting there protesting in Chicago on a daily friggin' basis, where poor innocent kids are being killed by the dozens every week. But let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. No. Let's not talk about it. Because it doesn't fit their narrative. Again, Roger, you're back on this whole the government is racist. Again, start throwing me some facts and start throwing me some instances of it, and we can discuss it. But just to make the statement is just freaking stupid. But how do you expect white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, how do you expect them to take you seriously when you say Black Lives Matter when you're out there killing each other on a daily basis? So then we want to get to the root cause, race. So again, back to this nonsense with the resolution, where poverty is the root cause of or racism is the root cause of poverty. No, maybe it's the violence in your city. Maybe it's the violence in your inner city is the root cause of poverty, because nobody's going to open a business there. And when shit does hit the fan, their buildings are the first ones that get burned to the ground. Go look at it in Minneapolis. They were burning down black-owned businesses. Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Roger. Finally. We had the freaking pride out of you. Yes, the government did break up the black family. They broke up the white family. They broke up every family because it was beneficial to them. The Great Society. They made them incentivized not having the father in the house. Absolutely. Now that did affect the minorities more than the white. Absolutely. So Roger, if that's where you're going with it, yes, I agree with you 110%. 110%. And we've discussed that many a times on this show when we first started. But to get back to Meriden here, you know, when we talk about the city of Meriden, there is no racism problem here. There never has been. Maybe in the 60s, 50s, maybe. I wasn't here. But there's been nothing here. But again, these counselors will sit there and go, oh, no. We have a racism problem. And again, it's unfortunate that people on the other side agreed with it. So people, see, some of you don't see the comments coming in. A lot of people have migrated. We had an issue last week where Facebook was censoring some of our members. So they have moved over to our YouTube channel. So if you haven't been to our YouTube channel, it's Straight Talk with Joe Vollano, and you could go ahead and like and subscribe there. We greatly appreciate that. So they've moved over to the YouTube channel, so they stopped being censored and blocked by Facebook. So there's some great comments going on over there on the YouTube page. If you care to jump on there and gander at it, but But, you know, we talk about, you know, what this all means. And I said that they were going to use this. This was a stepping stone. So their last resolution was just a stepping stone. It was just a stepping stone for what they really want to do. If this resolution never passed, they would never be able to do anything else they want to do. But the fact that it did pass with bipartisan support, they have free reign to do whatever they want because, as Jeff Frazier just said, both sides agreed with it. Both sides agreed with it. Which is why it irritates me to this day that both sides did agree with it. Because it's factually untrue. It never has been true. It never will be true. And the great thing is, these dumbass Democrats are going to tell you in their own words that it was never fucking true. It was never true. It's all a game. It's all a game. I love liberals because they are so stupid. But their supporters are so gullible. So when you got really stupid people controlling really gullible people, it leads to a friggin' disaster. The disaster of what we're witnessing right now. Because this is a disaster, what's going on. And all these politicians that are in power now, that have been there for 8 years, 10 years, and are complaining now about living in Meriden as a black person, when, again, LaRue Graham, prime example. Talk about a fucking moron. Prime example. My familiar response, while certainly true that all black lives matter in context, and misses the point. Oh, okay. So as Mr. LaRue would say, before all lives matter, black lives must matter. Okay. So, again, takes me to my previous point. Before all lives matter, black lives matter. But can't we be saying that to Mr. Graham, who is a black man? Why haven't you done anything? You've been in the position of power and have done nothing. You complain. Hold on a second. Let me read it to you. I've been dealing with this on a daily basis, dealing with it with my kids. Why we're treated differently. You never had to worry about being stopped or how to interact with what's going on. He's talking about the police department. This son of a bitch was the chairman of the Public Safety Committee for the city council. He oversaw the police department. Never once, not once, did it ever come up. Ever come up, Mr. Graham. You never brought it up. But 53 years it's been bothering you. 53 years it's been bothering you. Do you know what's bothering me? Your nonsense. But it just shows you again how in bed Democrats are with the Record Journal. The Record Journal, this is just literally just a Democrat talking board. That's all it is. The Record Journal owes the Democrats of this city so much free press, so much leniency for their little bailout that they got when they got the city to buy their piece of property down at downtown that was contaminated. And everyone knew it was contaminated. But the city Democrats decided, oh, we're going to throw these guys a bone. They got our back. They've always had our back. Hey, I told you to leave the kids at home. I told you to leave the kids, put the kids to bed. It's an early night. It's an early night. Oh, these guys get me too fired up. I don't care. We're really going to say it the way it is. Notice the phone number's still up there. You can still call in, 203-679-9610. It's still up there. I'm waiting for that phone to ring. I'm praying for that phone to ring. I can't wait. But it's all right. Jeff, this isn't only just Meriden. Because if no one noticed, the state of Connecticut now, in the state Senate, racism is a public health crisis, just passed up at the state house in the Senate. So they're pushing this nonsense there too. There is nothing worse than opportunist. There is nothing worse than a political opportunist. And that's what every single liberal is right now. That's what they are. But again, they have so many gullible people, uninformed people, that are willing to turn around and just follow blindly. And Jeff Kurtz from the Record Journal, this ain't worth the wiping of my backside on your editorial here, on your little story. It's your opinion. Yeah, your opinion ain't worth shit. Because you're just as stupid as the ones who voted for this. But then we get into the hypocrisy. And we get into where they sit there and prove me right. Because if no one has noticed, here in the city, great city of Meriden, where we're all racist, by the way, just remember that. We're all racist. So, well, at least if you're white, you're racist. You can't be racist, I guess, if you're anything else. You can just say whatever you want. But we have a new majority leader in the city of Meriden. We have a new majority leader in the city of Meriden. And guess what? She's a black woman. For a racist city, we've taken a huge step forward, I guess. Now, she's crazy. She's absolutely batshit crazy, no doubt. And I think she's gonna take this friggin' city straight to the ground. And in some ways, I'm kind of happy about it. In some way, I'm kind of happy about it. I know that seems a little strange because sometimes you need to destroy what's great to rebuild it better. And she's going to do a very good job. Her and her morons over there on the city council. All of them on the city council. No, not just the police department, Paul. Not just the police department. That was only one part of it. That was only one part of the resolution. Everything's racist. We're responsible for everything. So we have a new majority leader because David Lowell, the old majority leader, resigned. So we have a new black woman majority leader. Great. Wonderful. But she's a crazy lunatic. She is a social warrior. She's a social justice warrior. She's proud of it. And for some reason, during this article in the Record Journal, the nonsense that the garbage that paper is, that I'm kind of pissed I had to give 99 cents to come do some research for this show tonight. So enjoy my 99 cents, Record Journal. I hope it keeps your head above water. One, they quoted Kathy Batista for some reason in this article like 6 times. Who gives a about Kathy Batista? She's an old ex-city councilor, which I'm taking it. She's running for city council. I'm taking it, which is why, they keep quoting her. Again, this is just a liberal rag. So they're going to try to prop up the people they need to. And I'm taking it. She's going to be running this year. So, which is why they keep bringing her into this. But she's useless anyway. I mean, she was useless on the board. So, it doesn't really matter. But we have Nicole Tomasetti, she's a first-term Democrat on the council. Again, this is a girl that didn't say 2 words during the entire friggin' campaign, but she got elected because of her last name, and in fact, she had a D after her name. But she's a joke. She's a crazy left loon as it is. And she can't be happier. She's got a strong focus on equality and racial justice that we've never had before. No, you're right, we haven't, because there's never been a friggin' issue, Nicole. We've never had an issue. You're making it up. You're making it up, which is why it's never been brought up. It's something I'm extremely excited about, because you're an idiot. She represents what Meriden can be, I think. What she can be? What Meriden can be? What? What does that mean? What can it be that it's not already? But yet they want to, but again, they're going to change the perception of Meriden. Because that's what she's going to do. She's going to bring a new vision, and she's going to change the perception of Meriden. Yeah, the first thing out of the bat she did was call half the city freaking racist. 68% of the city, she just called racist. Now, again, maybe for the 30% that are hardcore liberals, they don't mind that because they think they are. Because they're too dumb to look, past the front of their nose. But that's how she's going to change the perception of Meriden. By the first vote coming up is saying, oh, don't move here. Meriden is racist. Meriden is racist. What do you think a business is going to say? Yeah, we're thinking we're going to move our business to Meriden. Wait a minute. No, they're racist. Why would you do that? That's a real good good first impression there, Sonia. Nice job. Like to see you're turning things around, girl. You go. Girl power, right? Crazy it is to me. Tomasetti continues, noting Jelks Council District Area 1, the downtown, Jelks said, has a focus on really celebrating the downtown and working to improve it. She is adding a light on the area I think has been misaligned at times. Are you kidding me? Downtown is a shithole. That's what it is. You're having shootings every night. You can't get a business to move down there. You have brand new office buildings down there that they can't even put in when 4 years later can't get anybody in it. And she's bringing new light? Where the hell have you been? She's been here for 6 years. I love liberals when they open their mouths. I just wish that everybody else heard it the way I do. I don't know if it's just because I'm in tune with it. But when they speak, nonsense comes out. And all they need is someone to sit there and smack them in the back of the head with it. And that's my job. Now I just hope that people are listening. But they were done. And I love this part. Because this is Ferguson, the Democratic chairwoman, for the town. It's great to have a woman and a person of color in high-ranking position such as this. This hasn't always been the case. She brings a new perspective, and it's long overdue. There was a time where there was one woman and no minorities on the council. So Meriden has come a long way. Thank you, Mrs. Ferguson. We have come a long way. Oh, really? Because that's not what they just told us? Are you freaking kidding me? Thank you, Mrs. Ferguson, for sitting there and letting the cat out of the bag. That this is all bullshit. There is no racism problem here. There never has been. You're making a crisis up so you can take extreme action against our police department and for the city workers because they want to get rid of some of the white folk and bring in some more minorities. That's what they're working on right now, behind the scenes at City Hall. That is what they're working on. But no one has the balls to call them out on it. I do. What are you going to do? What are you going to call me a name? Come for it. I told you guys this 3 weeks ago. You wanted to start this war. I am going to sit there. You have picked the wrong person to start it with. This will not fly. And I like to know, where's the neighborhood association been? We have a neighborhood association in this city that every single time you turn around and said anything to the police about the police department, they were right there in your face to sit there and stop you. Their silence is deafening. Their silence is deafening. Why haven't they stepped up? I know why. Because Holly Willis, who is the president of the association, is a hardcore Democrat who probably believes in this shit. But she also believes in the police department. So she's in a pickle. She's like, do I defend the police department? Or do I defend crazy liberals, which is what I am? And I think she's taken her sides. I think she has gone to the Democratic side. I want to hear from my neighborhood association pals who for years have been telling me that, oh no, we need this for the police department. We need that for the police department. We got to protect the police department. When I used to be critical of the police department's higher brass because there was nepotism going on, there were misdoings going on under the previous administration. But you can't find a neighborhood association person now. They could be a part of this solution. Next week, I'll be going to meet with the police chief next Thursday. And I'll be outlining, as I have done many a times before, my vision of community policing. It's a position I've had for years. It's successful. We did it down in New Haven. When we launched community policing in New Haven, we did it. We did it the right way. And I want to bring that approach here to the city of Meriden. I will be meeting with the police chief next Thursday, as anyone can. That's what's so great about this new police chief. If you have an issue, every Thursday at 2 o'clock, he has open door hours. You just have to go in there and say hello. He welcomes it. He's a great guy. He cares about the community. He grew up here. So all these people that are crying that, police department's so bad, have you stopped in there to talk with them? Or are you just bitching to further a political agenda? We need strong leaders. We need them. More than ever right now. That's why I'm so interested to see who's going to be put up for city council. I can't wait to find out who these candidates are. Because you're gonna meet every one of them on both sides. On both sides. You're going to meet them. Because you need to hear from them. I just don't know why we need to go down this road. And again, this phone line's still open. This number has been up there the whole show. And I know I know for a fact you politicians are listening right now. I know you are. We have 10 minutes left in the show, give or take? You have 10 minutes. You can say whatever you want. Speak your piece. I'll give you 10 minutes to say whatever you want. Now, I'm not going to let you bloviate on nonsense. But come state your opinion. Come state your position. Why you're doing this to the citizens of Meriden. Why have you decided to do this to the citizens of Meriden? That's what I want to know. And if you're a state official, especially Mary Abrams, our senator from Meriden, Cheshire, and Middlefield, come explain your vote. Do you really think there's a problem? And again, if there are rules or laws in the city of Meriden or in the state that you think is racist, can I ask you one question? If you actually believe that that is the case, how are you voting for these people? How are you voting for these people? If 30 years, if we're saying that for the last 30 years, we have passed laws that in some state officials' minds are violent to the inner cities, how are you voting for these people still? Mr. Cerrone, you going to call him? There we go. See, Cerrone's calling me on just the personal. Okay. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Jeffrey, are you there? Jeff? Hold on. There we go, Jeff. You there, Jeff? Oh, did we lose Jeff? We lost Jeff. Jeff, call back. Jeff will call. Jeff was just calling, and I lost him for some reason. I just don't think I picked him up fast enough. So I'm going to call him back. Let's see if he answers. There he is. Jeff, are you there? And we lost him. So I guess he had second thoughts. He decided it wasn't in his best interest to talk. It's all right, Jeff. You want, you call back. But we got to ask our leaders, why are they doing this? When there is no statistical proof to show that there is an issue here. But it's for more control. This is, most of us weren't around for the 60s when we had social justice going on. I guess this is our version of it. But again, unlike back in the 60s, this time they're doing it on false. We were just talking to you, Jeff. We just called you. Good try. Call back. The fact that I was calling you. You got to call us back. But this is the new social justice war that we're having now. But this time, it's on a false narrative because it's just not true. What they're claiming just isn't true. Jeff, I'm gonna get you a new phone. It's crazy. Don't let, and I said this 3 weeks ago, we will not let them divide us. We won't. We will not let these people divide us. Here we go. Jeff, you there, sir?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Jeffrey.
Mr. Vollano.
What's on your mind, Jeff?
I got one question to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you get vaccinated?
Did I?
What's wrong? I'm asking you a question.
I identify as a vaccinated person. So
So you identify, so we don't really know if we both go to the CVS together and I'm not wearing my mask.
I didn't wear a mask anyways. Well, I didn't wear a mask anyways.
So you went to the CVS's and polluted them because you didn't get a shot.
Well, I don't go to CVS, so, but
again, maybe Walmart.
No matter where I went, I never wore a mask even before this, so, no. So again,
you never wore a mask.
Yes, because I have what's called an immune system, and I also have what's called a 98% chance of not getting sick from it, just like everybody else in America. So
wait a minute. So when you go to Walmart to buy your Dr. Pepper,
Yes.
You didn't wear a mask.
No.
And they let you in.
I have never had an issue. Which
I'm
is funny.
glad I wasn't there because I was wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask for a year.
Which is funny because when I go with certain people, they'll say something to them, but not to me, which is kind of funny. I don't know if I throw that "fuck you" vibe off or not, but
yeah, you got that angry face. You got that angry face. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, don't bother me with this nonsense. So, and even now, again, I identify as a vaccinated person. So that's enough. What about your family?
Like
they're all safe and sound, Jeff. Or I'm talking about
So that's a personal kind of thing, like the we, they, he, she, you're a they. So you identify as being vaccinated,
so therefore
but you haven't been vaccinated.
Yeah. So therefore I am.
so let's
I identify.
Like
therefore I am.
Vaccination.
Yes.
So you're not protecting anyone in Walmart, even yourself.
Oh no, 'cause I don't care. Because like I said,
you could be a carrier.
Again, you have a 98% chance, even if you do contract it, of being perfectly fine. If you're the 1%, you know what? Well, I guess it's nature's course. I guess nature's will, right? I feel like.
Well, I guess it's.
I feel like a Bill Burr, where we're just gonna let nature take its course. We are the only species that protects the weak. Maybe this is just this is nature's forest fire.
But didn't 600,000 or 700,000? I don't even know because I don't watch the news. Didn't 600,000 or 700,000 people die from that?
Yeah, you know what?
Plus the flu.
But again,
you got to throw in a few 100,000.
But again,
you throw in a few 100,000 for the flu.
I think we could debate the numbers from the CDC because if you look at the revisioned ones, you should all wear masks out of respect. Respect for who? Respect for who? Who's respecting me for
fellow citizen?
So Paul said that you all should wear a mask out of respect. Respect for who?
Right.
They're not respecting me. I don't want to wear a mask. What? I don't count? Or I got to worry about everybody else? But you know what? Hold on, real second, Jeff. But again, that 1%, Paul, should stay home. If they have underlying conditions, they should stay home.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to affect
98%
of the. You're not going to affect. Now I got something in my eye. You're not going to affect the lives of 98% for the 1 to 2% that could just stay home. We live in the world of technology.
So they should just use Amazon or.
Yeah, you got the world of technology.
They should use Amazon or Uber Eats.
Yeah, you got the world of technology now. You can do anything.
Huh.
So.
It's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, again, you don't affect the masses for the few. It's just like anything else. See, now I got something in my eye, and now it's going to bother me. Because my eye.
Well, that's my karma.
Yeah,
my
right.
Karma.
Someone is.
Oh, okay. All right. So I don't know. You say you're protecting your fellow Meriden citizens and trying to help them with their causes. But you go into the city unprotected.
I don't want to say unprotected. I'm protected. I got the immune system.
Well,
so does everybody else.
So nobody died in Meriden.
Let me say this.
So nobody died in Meriden.
Nobody died of COVID in Meriden. Let me ask you this, Chef. Let me say that. Let me ask you, are you driving? Do you drive on a daily basis?
Not daily, no.
Do you drive?
A few times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should you stop driving because there might be a drunk driver on the road, or because someone might be distracting driving? Should you be driving now?
Well,
why not?
There's bad people everywhere on the road.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, exactly. There's people with bad immune systems everywhere. They should stay home, right?
They should stay home, even if they have to get something, medicine or something like that.
They can have it delivered,
and they don't even know.
They can have it delivered.
They don't even know if they have it.
Well,
they don't know if they have it.
No one knows no one knows if it's a drunk driver up the road. No one knows if it's a distracted driver up the road. There's so many things we don't know, Jeff. So what? We're gonna stop everything. And this is where I talk about. We sit there and we're so about the hysteria of the 1%, the 2%. Listen, you're not gonna change your life over every little thing. You're just not. So why are you expecting me to go change my life?
Mm-hmm.
No.
So why are you expecting liberals in Meriden that write papers to change their opinion?
Well, again, changing their opinion, but again,
you're talking about their You're talking about their opinion. That's
their
his
opinion on a false
That's
narrative.
what he believes in.
Well, again,
That's what he believes in.
Prime example. Okay, you believe it, but why do you believe that? We had a caller a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about, well, their perception of when they can't do a certain thing because, you know, they might be done a certain way. And I asked the question, is it because it's been embedded in them over the last 30 years, or is it from personal experience? Yeah. The same thing here. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So he may agree with it, but listen, just because you agree with it doesn't mean it's true. Paul believes in UFOs.
I'm not saying it, but it's true.
Paul believes in UFOs.
For him.
Paul believes in UFOs. He talks about them. He talks about them every week. Does that make them real? He believes
it's true for him.
But again,
it's true for him.
But again, Jeff, back to my original thing. Facts don't give a shit about your feelings. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's not true. Yeah. It's not true. You can't sit there and make policy over something that is not true. This whole racism thing. So UFOs make Paul happy, and you don't want to make Paul happy to do a little research on UFOs. It makes him happy. My feelings for Paul with UFOs, if it makes him happy and smiling and warm inside like a cup of hot chocolate does to me, then so be it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with it. But again, Paul's not trying to change.
I'm not asking you.
No, but here's the thing.
I'm not asking you to agree with it.
But here's the thing, though, Jeff. Paul's not trying to change policy to sit there and tell me I have to believe that. See, this is what the city council is doing, or the state's doing right now. The state is saying racism is a public health crisis with absolutely no facts to go behind it. So now they're pushing their agenda on me. Paul's not pushing his agenda. He could believe they're real all he wants. You could believe racism exists at an epic level all you want. It doesn't mean it's so. You can believe anything you want. But there is absolutely no proof. There is not a single statistic that proves otherwise. And that's the point. You can believe whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want. But that doesn't mean it's so.
So in Hartford, there's no racism in Hartford. Bridgeport, Bridgeport or New Haven.
Listen, anyone who believes that racism does not exist is crazy. Racism exists. It exists on all sides, and I've talked about it on this show. I've been called all sorts of names. I've been called a cracker to everything else you could possibly imagine, and it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. It exists on all sides. It's not happening at an epidemic rate. You do not have police officers killing black men at an epidemic rate. What you do have is black on black crime and black men killing black men in astounding rates. But nobody wants to talk about that, Jeff. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, and when you bring it up, you're a racist. Why? Because you're a racist.
Why are they doing that?
Because it doesn't meet their agenda.
So that's the issue. So that's the issue. So talk about why they're doing it.
But again,
get somebody on who's
could get that out of them,
who's been involved in it.
But if you could get that out of them, and again, our city leaders, they could get involved in that, but they don't want to because it doesn't push their agenda. Their agenda.
Well, they're not going to get reelected if they.
Well, their agenda, it doesn't matter because obviously those people just keep voting them in. You just had state legislators up on at the state capitol talk about how policies passed on the state level are violent towards the inner city. They're passing the fucking laws, Jeff. They're passing them. Their own. So are they saying that their own laws that they just passed are violent to the inner cities? So are they racist? Last time I looked, they were minorities standing up there. But it was their policies that were being passed.
Policies about what? Money for low-income people or racism or
anything. It doesn't matter. Pick whatever you want.
So why is giving money to low-income people racist? Don't they need it?
What was that?
Don't minorities need funding and money to?
But again, and here's my fact.
Why is that racist? Why is that racist?
We'll go back to the city council resolution that just passed. And it said this. It said, racism is the leading cause of poverty to minorities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the
Who's
reason?
racism?
So again, there's 960 black families in the city of Meriden living in poverty. There's over 18 to 1900 white families. What's their excuse?
Yeah.
What's the white people's excuse?
So what do they mean racism? Black on black, white on black? What? Just
Well, if it's racism, then it's not black on black. If it's racism, it's white. It's
well,
white.
then white against black. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that is the term of racism, I guess, right?
So they're stating that for what purpose? For money? For what?
Again, you missed the show 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to try to rehash the whole thing, but it's basically a first step to handcuffing our police department and to changing the hiring practices of the city of Meriden. See, they don't want you hired based on the qualification. They want you based on the color of your skin now. That's just a fact.
Well, many companies.
That's just a fact of what they want now. And the police department, they want to handcuff the police department from doing their job because they're saying that, again, in their resolution, that criminal justice, the leading cause of death to black men is the criminal justice system, which before it said criminal justice system, it said police department. So the police department in the city of Meriden is the leading cause of black men in the city.
So you don't get hired because you're qualified. They want you to be hired because you're a minority.
Yeah, now you got.
If you're a minority, you're going to get picked before a white.
So that is
qualified cop.
So that is the game plan going forward for the city of Meriden. If Sonia Jelks and her crazies have their way, yes.
Yeah.
It's no longer about how good you are. It's just about what you look like.
Yeah.
And last time I checked, MLK was totally against that. But you can't bring up bring up Martin Luther King to them because now you're just trying to play racist games. But again, they don't want to hear facts. When I said they don't want to have a two-way conversation, they want it to be a one-way conversation. You listen and you do as I say. If you sit there and say anything else, we're going to try to paint you as a racist. But then if you tell them to go screw themselves, they sit there and run and hide like a bunch of little schoolgirls.
No, challenge them to the town hall. Put them on a town hall.
They will never do such a thing.
The people that are voting for them, maybe the people that are voting for them want to voice.
Politicians.
Want to hear them.
Listen, you're talking about politicians. You have two people on the city council that said absolutely not two words through the entire campaign that got elected because they had a D next to their name. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of sad affairs we're in. Because people just don't pay attention and they're not informed. And what it ultimately leads to is what you're seeing in the city of Meriden right now.
Yeah.
That is basically what you had. This is what happens when you have uninformed voters just picking apart. Again, this goes for both sides. Left and right. The right have their people that sit there and vote based on party also. So it is on both sides. I don't want to make it seem like it's just one side, but it's definitely in the city of Meriden a huge problem.
Well, what's the solution? Get a solution.
Well, again, the solution is finding.
Instead of talking about it, fix it.
Well, I think
how can you fix it?
Listen, we're doing what we can right here, and I get a prime example is that we've had now. We look at the budget. Just 3 weeks ago, they were going to pass a budget with a 2.3% increase, and now they're going to do it with nothing. And I like to think it's because the people turned around and said, "Go screw yourselves." No.
Yeah. That sounds good.
So again, we have power.
You know what?
Our power here is in numbers. Why do you have a bridge
to nowhere in buildings that are unoccupied and spending money like that when
we have a bridge to
there's
nowhere?
Other things that need to be. You have a park that nobody goes to. You have a bridge. You have buildings that are unoccupied. How do you fix that? What do you keep on spending money to redo buildings that people aren't going to occupy?
Yeah, well, you got to remember. You also got to remember how we got to that point. So we got to the point where with the buildings that are unoccupied down in the downtown Meriden. The taxpayer took it up to what on that because we give tax breaks up to 80% for those buildings. 80%. We gave tax abatements for those buildings.
Nice.
Just so we could bring in
very nice.
Just so we could bring in Section 8 housing. And the Democrats on the council, who owned the council at the time, thought that it would be a good idea. And in some way, again, liberal logic, they think that if you bring poor people downtown in a place you're trying to revitalize, that's going to bring in business. But businesses are smarter than that to sit there and say, well, if they don't have money to spend, why would I bring my business there? And hence, you have 5 years of unoccupied buildings. But yet, you have plenty of Section 8 housing down there. Now, again, people don't want to hear that because they think that you're attacking the poor people, which you're not.
Well, Section 8 housing is Section 8 housing is guaranteed payment. I mean,
well,
if you're a landlord.
So look at this. So you look at the developer, and you talk about how nice this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is how crony capitalism works, and this is how greasing the pockets work. So this developer, Penrose, who happened to be roommates of the economic development's husband at the time, so that was his in. Then he gets an 80% tax abatement. Then he gets guaranteed loans, low interest loans from the federal government and from the state government. So this project cost him next to nothing. There's no downside to it.
For him.
But the city of taxpayers got freaking screwed.
Right.
And now what do you do?
So who signs off on? Who
the city
signs
council
off
did.
On that? I mean,
the Democrats on the city council did. But again, who's paying attention? You bring it up. You can bring it up all you want. They're just not listening. And again,
then they should be voted out. If the majority of the people.
Listen, the politicians know that the public's not listening. That's why they do the things they do. They're not scared of the public anymore. They're not scared because they know the people aren't paying attention, and they know when election time comes, they're pulling that D lever because they're getting free shit.
Yeah.
They're getting a free house. What do they care? They're not paying taxes. But if you're a taxpayer and you turn around and say, well, this is wrong, you turn around and you're called again. You're called a racist, or you're attacking the poor. But no, it's just a reality of it. It's just a reality of it that needs to be pointed out. So now the question is, well, what do you do about it? And that's the real hard question now.
Mm-hmm.
That is the real question. What do you do? Because unfortunately, the only way out of it is to spend more money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know taxpayers don't want to hear that, but the only way you're going to revitalize downtown and you're really going to get people in there is you need to start taking gambles on people that are willing to move down there and start sharing the load of these build outs. But again,
well, I mean,
and Paul and Roger just said two things. Roger and Paul just said two things. And Paul said that's true. No one is paying attention and people don't care. And Roger said people don't care. And that's true. But that's when I talk about our circle of influences. And are you doing what you need to do in your circle of influence to make sure people are paying attention? Even if it's just a passing, hey, did you hear about this shit? That's all it takes.
Well, then go to the bridge to nowhere and hold up signs.
Well, first of all, I won't walk on that bridge.
A bullhorn and inform people that that's stupid. Pass out flyers.
Well, again, you're looking at. There's a couple ways to go about that, Jeff. And one, you are absolutely correct. You can sit there and go down on the bridge of nowhere and sit there and hold a sign that no one's going to see, or you can sit there and do a show like this, or again, the best way to do it is within your circle of influence. We all have 10 people we know that you can sit there and relay this message to. And there's going to be one or two that are going to be interested and say, you know what, tell me more. And then they're going to go and share that. That's the best way of doing it. Listen, for someone to go down on the green and just talk, most people who don't know you aren't going to listen. They're not.
Well, then challenge it. Challenge the news organizations. Challenge
that's what we
city
do here.
leaders.
That's what we're doing now.
To go to it then.
That's what we're doing now. And what I'm doing here is trying to give you guys the facts and the ammunition to go out there and do just that. And that's my job. And that's what I need to do. Because I think that's where I'm best able to help. which is why some of our videos here have over 3,000, 4,000 views. I think we are doing that.
Well, maybe the city council should talk about towns, should talk to towns that don't have those issues.
Yeah, see,
That's
but again,
Wallingford, nicer town. It's not a money issue, Joe.
I think you're missing the point. Listen, they can go talk to any town they want.
No one wants to go down that.
Here's the thing that I think you're missing is that they don't care. Let me just put it. That's, I guess, the most blunt way of putting it is they just don't care. The elected officials do not care because they don't fear you anymore. They could do whatever they want. They think they could do whatever they want. And until they're proven otherwise, are they going to change?
No. Well,
no, because
you get
if your kid keeps stealing cookies out of the cookie jar and you don't say anything, are they going to change their habit? No. It's not till you smack them in the hand and say, hey, no more cookies.
Yeah, or you put a lock on the cookie jar.
Right. In order for us to put a lock on the cookie jar, we would need 2/3 of the city council to change the city charter. But listen, there's definitely issues, but there are definitely solutions. But you need to have people that care enough to do the solutions. And the city council we have now does not care. And I think, and with Sonia Jelks, which is why I say, I'm actually excited that Sonia Jelks is the new majority leader because she's so freaking crazy and she's so far left that she's going to take this council in such a crazy radical way to the left that most people in this city are going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah,
no.
Good.
No.
Good. Good. I say you just should pack up and move.
Roger, the low-income housing on Willow Street has a beautiful view of the bridge in Hubbard Park. Well, it's not Hubbard Park. It's the City Green. And you are Kool-Aid, and you have no facts to back up your beliefs. Which ones would that be, Mr.
Boy.
Roger? Roger, I want Roger to call me. Roger won't call me, though.
Yeah, Roger would. Roger's afraid to call in.
Roger won't call.
He's always been afraid.
A little peer pressure here. But Jeff, thank you for calling. Look at that. We're on this it's almost 8:15 already.
Anything I could do to help.
Well, Mr. Sharon, it's always nice talking to you. We have to have lunch or breakfast soon.
Sounds good.
Maybe on Monday. But
move to Cheshire.
Thank you, move to Cheshire. Thank you, party. Thanks, Bell. I'll talk to you.
Not a problem.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
No, the city council is not going to stand up to her, Linda, because the city council agrees with her. You heard Nicole Tomasetti. You heard what she said. She's all for it. Blake can't get out of her own way, so she ain't going anywhere. You have Rhodey. You got Rhodey. I'm just waiting for the day. And the only logical one you have over there, the only one with a sense, would be Fontanella. So, but again, we need Republicans, we need conservatives to be able to get out of the city council to try to turn things around. And if anyone who believes that the city is in bad shape, you can't be voting for these Democrats back in. But they continue to do it. So we'll keep putting on these shows, and we'll just hopefully get them one at a time. We'll start informing people one at a time. That's what it's going to take. So, but I'm taking it none of our city councilors are going to call. So I'm taking it there. That doesn't surprise me at all, though. So, but they'll talk behind the scenes, and I'll hear about it. You can also see Howard Park from the apartments. How? It's on the total opposite side of the city, and there's a mountain in the way. I gotta go take a look up there. On Willow Street? You're talking about the public housing, right? Just so we're all on the same page? Because now I'm gonna have to go look. I don't ever remember seeing it when I used to work there. But we were a little over our time limit here. I try to keep it to an hour and 19 minutes. So again, we'll be back on Sunday. We have a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk some more stuff about the state, what's going on up there. But until then, as always, we're not going to let these people divide us. No matter how much they try, we're not going to do it. We're going to stick together. We're going to form in our circle of influence and make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. In a mass, you need to put in a line. No, if you're going to come on this show, you're going to have the balls to sit there and tell me who you are and speak. But again, until Sunday, guys, I love you all. God bless you. And as always, God bless this freaking amazing country we have. We need to respect it, and we need to acknowledge that it's the greatest, because it is. Here, you could be anything you want in this country. As long as you're willing to put the time and effort into it. You can do anything. Until next time, good night, love you, God bless you, and God bless America.